back from that break. Glad you're still watching Science Breakfast with me, Alan HERBERT, and sign language interpreter is Jedida Wafula. And these are the stories that are making headlines in the country. And we started off with matters to do with government as it suspends travel for non-essential foreign travel in cost-cutting move. The government has suspended with immediate effect non-essential foreign travel by public officers in an apparent move aimed at cutting down government spending. Now, the head of public service has also cut by 50% the number of delegations that can accompany the president, deputy president, and the first lady, and cut further the number of those accompanying cabinet secretaries and principal secretaries to between 2 and 1 respectively. And staying on government, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says a government to buy 1 million bags of maize from farmers a day after a highlight of the plight of maize farmers ahead of the projected El Nino rains. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has announced that the government will soon buy 1 million bags of maize from the farmers to cushion them from losses. This coming at a time when farmers in Uasin Gishu County are in panic mode and selling the produce at throwaway prices to middlemen. The farmers also facing post-harvest losses for lack of storage and drying facilities. Here are the full details.
These El Nino rains are coming. We are worried as farmers. As you can see from these farms, many of our farms are flooded already.
Tumesikia serikali kusema mvua inakuja, that's why tumeamua tufune mapema mambo ya hali anga vile itakuwa.
Mahindi yangu nilikuwa ni ya nyuma, nilipanda alafu mvua ikapotea. Sasa tumesikia iko El Nino na tuna wasiwasi kubwa sana kama wakulima area hii. Mahindi yangu itaweza kuwa kama mwezi moja na nusu ndio nifune.
The president is just across here and we want to ask the president to give us 100 sheets, then we complete this store so that we can control this El Nino.
Lakini bado mvua hii itakapoendelea kunyesha bado hii mahindi inaweza haribika kwa sababu traya mahali hapa kwetu hatuna.
Mimi niliweza kuanika gunia 20 peke yake, so itabidi siku kama ya kesho pia nione kama nitapata nafasi nyingine niweze kuanika mahindi yaliyosalia kwa gari.
Bei iko juu, the more mahindi kikaa kwa shamba utapata bei imekuja chini. That's why watu wameharakisha mapema.
Mpango huko, lakini tulitaka kwanza soko yenyewe ituambie pahali imefika. Unajua pia hatutaki kutatiza biashara kibinafsi, kwa sababu labda ile bei serikali ingepeana inaweza kuwa chini ya ile iko katika soko huru. So hivi karibuni serikali itanunua mahindi na tukipima vile soko inaenda ndio tutaweza kufikia ile kiwango ambayo tunaweza kununua.
Well, from Deputy President now to governors oppose creation of new devolved units. The Council of Governors has opposed calls for the creation of additional counties and administrative units, saying the borders of the existing counties must first be properly defined before the deed is done. While making their oral submissions before the National Dialogue Committee, the governors, through its chairperson Anwe Guru, proposed the review of the finance laws to allow the counties borrow from the domestic market to fund their operations and repay huge pending bills.
The rising cost of living has continuously impacted negatively on public officers, which has resulted in a low morale, poor performance, and poor social welfare of officers, some of whom are undergoing depression.
So far, I think there are proposals for almost over 10 counties. I think looking at some of you here, you are affected by that proposal.
How will you split one county if you don't know where the boundary is? But the contradiction is this, Chairman, that whilst constituencies are known, whilst wards are known, boundaries of counties appear ambiguous. So the delimitation is important so that you can resolve the question of county boundaries before you get into the question whether you will increase or reduce.
As you write your report, kindly see how you can accommodate the Ilchamus people to finally be able to be represented at the national level.
Therefore, recommend an amendment to Article 212 of the Constitution to provide that 20% of the debt ceiling is ring-fenced for county borrowing.
We are proposing that out of the development fund, we ring-fence up to 5% of what has been allocated to go to the ward. That will ensure that every ward gets its share of development, irrespective of whether you agree or belong to the same political formation with the governor or not.
Someone saying that we are sipping expensive tea and champagne. We unfortunately have no facilities. We are here to get a shilling. Even the waters and the conference facilities, we are here courtesy of a well-wisher, one of our civil society organizations.
The Commission therefore proposes that either the taxation regime be reviewed, a considered wage increase be mooted, or public officers who are servicing mortgages be exempted from additional and similar levies taxes so as to give relief to public officers and boost performance and delivery of services. Our second recommendation on this is a staggered implementation of the housing levy and possibly consider basing the levy on the basic salary rather than the gross salary.
To sustain the narrative that is being weaved in your presentation, that the only reason why people are earning a third of their pay is because of taxation, then justify for me to appreciate where is this 67% going.
The audit cannot change or reverse the decision of the Supreme Court through a constitutional and legal process. The audit is like a post-mortem, which cannot revive a dead body, but can tell you the cause of the death.
That now to Mandago scholarship case, 202 lined up to testify against Uasin Gishu Senator. Now Uasin Gishu Senator Jackson Mandago and his two co-accused will stand trial over the botched Finland-Canada airlift education scandal. Nakuru court has given the defense 60 days to prepare for trial, with the prosecution lining up over 200 witnesses to testify in the case against the former governor, who is now senator.
Mimi nilipa pesa yangu 4 milioni na 1,300 kutoka mwaka jana. Mimi nalipa watoto 3 kutoka mwaka jana, naambia watoto naenda suku.
The defense counsel to complete the processes of discoveries and obtaining and exchange of the documents and statements. So I will extend the bond on similar terms for all the accused persons present. So let's meet on 15th of January next year for further orders and directions as to the hearing.
Meteorological department says rains won't be intense as predicted. The weatherman now says the anticipated El Nino rains will not be as intense as it had been predicted. The meteorological department's weather outlook for the month of October shows that the rains begin in the next 2 weeks in areas where it hasn't, and will intensify in areas where it is already raining all the way to December. Now the weatherman, however, urged both the national and county governments to continue with the preparedness to mitigate the impact.
Katika eneo hili kuna sehemu, baadhi ya sehemu ambao tumeona maporomoko ambao yako, na tunataka usaidizi kutoka kwa serikali ili watu wetu wasiadhirike au tusipoteze maisha.
However, what we are now seeing so far from the El Nino, the threshold or the strength is not like the strength that we had in 1997 or 2006. So this one is not expected to the strength to be higher. So far from the observation, it is not as what we had in 1997, whereby now when we talk about El Nino, people normally just refer to what was there in 1997, and they also referring to the impact which was there before. However, this one is not going to be so much in terms of the strength and destruction, but the rainfall is expected to be enhanced as a result of those two elements. It's not such El Nino rains. It is those drivers are enhancing the rainfall. It's trying to improve on what was there. So what we are now seeing is enhanced rainfall as compared to what was there in other previous years. So the enhanced rainfall is not El Nino, it's enhanced rainfall. is actually there. So the chances are above. It's just we are maintaining because we are just monitoring all drivers and analyzing. So it's just like what we gave out. But the strength is also still there. So everything is still there. Meaning they have got also even to upscale. Because now in the next couple of days we are going now to have onset of this rainfall. So meaning is they need also to prepare and even to strengthen preparation so that at least they don't get because the rain is coming, so they need to finish all those and whatever they are doing so that at least they have more time.
And government to close private children's homes, and the government of Kenya seeks to abolish all children's homes and orphanages that are privately owned. Labor and Social Protection Cabinet Secretary Florence Bore has said. Now, speaking in Isiolo County on Sunday, Bore said only government-owned homes which are under the Child Welfare Society of Kenya will be allowed to operate. Now, she noted that private homes have been avenues for child trafficking. Quote, the reason why we are closing them up is because we have been given directions under the Children's Act that the private homes should be closed. They have also been routes for child trafficking, so government wants us to retain the institutions that we have under the Child Welfare Society of Kenya, Bore stated. According to the Social Protection CS, the government will implement the changes within a period spanning 8 years. In the next 8 years, those private homes will not exist. We need to prepare in order to absorb those children that will come from private homes, she said. The Children's Act is also aimed at supporting the rights of children to grow up in families and communities. Data from the Social Protection Department showed that there are 45,000 to 50,000 children living in about 855 private children homes, charitable children's institutions, and others living in government-run institutions as of November 2022.
Children have their rights. They have the right to shelter, right to food, right to education, and we have children here that have been abandoned, children that have been defiled, and as a ministry we want to work towards ensuring that our children are not neglected. We are trying to establish our own rescue centers away from the private centers, basically because of child trafficking, and we want to ensure that that doesn't happen here in Kenya. We want to have these children in these centers, and with time we'd want them to integrate with the other families in the society, some of them to be adopted, some of them to be able to stay in a home family setup.
Most of these children come from traumatized situations. They are all traumatized. So while they stay here, we want to make them feel nice, feel comfortable, feel loved, feel wanted, and we are grateful for what the government is doing.
Away from that, we come to the end of the news that are making headlines in the country. When we come back from the break, we're coming back with the news that are making headlines from the global, from the dailies. Keep it science.